I don't know about you guys, but I've never personally been a big fan of autobiographical manga. I don't know, just something about the author going, hey, here's my life story, just doesn't always click with me. But on a whim, I picked up a manga called Blank Canvas, My So-Called Artist's Journey. And yes, I immediately gave up on trying to pronounce the Japanese title, and this manga was the same. At first, I couldn't really get into it, but I told myself I'd at least finish the first volume before making my final judgment. Well, as you can see, that plan did not go exactly as expected, because here I am. Not only am I telling you to read this manga, but also making an entire video about it. So yeah, something changed along the way. The story follows our protagonist, Hayashi, an unspectacular girl from an unspectacular village. She has one big passion though, art, and she dreams of becoming a shoujo manga artist. One day, a friend from school tells her about a top secret art class that she's been attending after hours, and she invites Hayashi to check it out. Naturally, curiosity gets the best of her, and they head to this super secret class after school. And what does she find? A rundown house that looks like it might collapse at any second. Oh, and inside? A man wielding a bamboo stick, smacking students around and screaming at them to draw faster.
What?
Yep, totally normal and not something that would give you immediate red flags. This is where the real story begins. Hayashi starts attending her sensei's art school every single day, endlessly sketching, erasing, and sketching some more, all in the hopes of improving her skills enough to get into a prestigious art school. But here's the catch. She's keeping a secret from her sensei. See, while she's working hard on her fine art skills, what she really wants is to become a manga artist. But she's terrified that if her sensei finds out, he'll look down on her dream and dismiss being a mangaka as something lesser. So she keeps her mouth shut and she just keeps drawing and drawing and drawing. You might be thinking, how is this even entertaining? I mean, it's just some girl going to a shady art class in the middle of nowhere, run by an even shadier instructor who spends his time smacking students around with a bamboo stick. Well, that's just the initial spark. The real story is about the dynamic between Hayashi and her sensei, who does have a name, but since 90% of the manga, he's referred to as sensei, so we're just gonna roll with that. The manga follows Hayashi as she relentlessly chases her dream of becoming a mangaka, all while living in constant fear of her sensei, who kinda dictates everything. What she draws, how she draws, where she should go to art school. He's so intimidating that she can't even bring herself to tell him that she wants to be a shoujo manga artist, not some fine arts painter obsessed with canvases and techniques. And this is where the real struggle kicks in. This connection with her sensei is what makes Hayashi so relatable. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you have had someone in your life, whether it's a parent, a teacher, or just that one relative who you desperately want to impress. You don't want to let them down, but at the same time, their expectations feel crushing. Like they're trying to script every single move of your life. It's basically like having a helicopter parent on super hard mode. In a way, Hayashi and Sensei have a classic love-hate relationship. On one hand, Sensei genuinely wants to help her out, but on the other, it feels like he's projecting his own unfulfilled dreams onto her. Since he never got into a prestigious art school himself, well, why not just shove that expectation onto Hayashi instead? Their relationship is a roller coaster. There are heartwarming moments, heated arguments, and even stretches where they don't really see each other at all. It's complicated, messy, and at times it's kind of frustrating, but that's what makes it so compelling. Even if you're not an art student or don't know the first thing about drawing, you can still relate to Hayashi's very human moments. Like when she's supposed to be working hard for art school, but instead, like the rest of us, procrastinates hard. Instead of focusing on the future, she spends her time goofing off with her friends, staying out late, and doing, stupid, silly little things every teenager does. And it's only later that she realizes how good she had it, even with all the stress of school and looming deadlines. Sounds familiar? Yeah, we've all been through this. Now, as much as I enjoyed these two characters, I couldn't help but wish there was more. This is something I often struggle with when it comes to autobiographical manga. You're locked into that one perspective the entire time. It's the author's story, their experiences, their thoughts, and while that makes sense, because like I said, it is their life, it can also feel kind of limiting. Now, don't get me wrong, Hayashi is a great character. No offense to the real Akiko Higashimura, of course. But there were moments when I just kind of got tired of seeing the same two people go back and forth, being stuck in Hayashi's head, following her thought process over and over again. I mean, it is a true story, so I guess I can't really complain. Real life can be boring at times. While I'm at it, another thing I want to bring up is how this manga really loves to explain things that aren't all that relevant to the story. And honestly, it kind of derails the pacing. I usually enjoy these little tidbits of extra information. They're interesting, but at some point the manga just needs to trim the fluff. I mean, I spent like 10 whole minutes reading about different art schools in Japan, how the grading systems work, how art students take exams, how long their breaks are between exams and projects, and etc, etc, etc. It's just too much. Like, I get it, the details are thorough, but when I'm suddenly hit with paragraphs of exposition, I kind of just find myself zoning out. And by the time it's over, I kind of have to mentally reset and figure out where the story even left off. It's overwhelming, to say the least. That being said, despite my complaints, I genuinely enjoyed this manga. In fact, it kind of gave me a weird sense of nostalgia for a time I never even experienced. In a sense, it's a window into Japan's early manga culture, showing how it was still growing in the 90s. Back then everything was done by hand. There's no fancy digital tools, just raw skill, dedication, and probably a lot of eraser shavings. It's kind of funny because I completely forgot that this manga was based on a real story. So after finishing it, I looked up the author, just out of curiosity, and when I saw that she had the same name as the main character from the manga, I had this wait, what moment. Yeah, definitely not my brightest moment. It's kind of wild to be reminded that these characters aren't just fictional, they're real people, living their lives as I'm sitting here reading about their past. And here's where it gets even crazier. I found out the author has a YouTube channel where she does podcasts. Like, she literally just uploaded a podcast while I was reading her manga about her past. That's some next level time loop kind of stuff. Mind-boggling to say the least. I also found out that she's the creator of Jellyfish Princess. I watched the anime many years ago and I loved it, but I had no idea it's the same author, so this is a pretty cool surprise. Blank Canvas, my so-called artist's journey, is touching, heartwarming, sad, and uplifting all at once. A perfect reflection of how life really is, full of ups and downs. It's a story that reminds you to chase your dreams while you still can, to speak your mind before it's too late, and to live in a way that leaves as few regrets as possible. If you're looking for a short manga that's both relaxing to read and an honest depiction of an artist's struggles, one that will take you on an emotional roller coaster, then I definitely recommend checking this one out. Fortunately, Blank Canvas, my so-called artist's journey, is licensed by 7 Seas, and it does have a physical edition, physical English volumes you can collect. But from what I've seen recently, some of the volumes are out of stock and I kind of have a hard time finding them, so I don't know if you guys are going to go through the same dilemma. So if you don't have the means, just stick to the digital manga like I did. On top of that, this manga is only 5 volumes, so definitely a solid short series to check out. Thank you again for tuning in to this video. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a comment, like, subscribe for some more awesome content. Your support really helps the channel grow, guys. And with that, this is your host, Rich Taku, and I will be signing off.